Legend tales of a place where the booze flows freely and the stories are always entertaining. If you are bold enough to seek out such a place, head 13 miles down the Tuscan Highway to a tiny blues joint known as the Townsmith Tavern. Once there, enjoy the ride. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and Bowl.
Excuse me, you can't say that. You're gonna lose your family-friendly rating. You're gonna corrupt the kids.
BS! A podcast that invites you to grab a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. And here are your hosts, Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder.
Good evening and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that's not afraid to jump the shark. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing tonight?
Well, hello. I'm doing pretty well. You know what? I'm happy. We're here again. It's time for another show. Super stoked. It's hockey night in North Dakota. Even though it's in St. Louis tonight. But you know what? It's the party right here. That's where it's at. And, of course, that is Triple B. How the hell are you doing?
You know, I'm doing pretty good, Kidder. I'm a little tired. You know, it's been quite the week. We put our condo on the market. So we've had showings all last weekend, which meant that I had to get kicked out of the house, which also meant, you know, Junior, couldn't let him just run around the house and make a mess because the bigger the mess, the more I had to clean up before a showing. And I have to share this, Kidder, because you'll get a kick out of it. So since we're trying to stay out of the house so that the house stays pristine, Junior and I went for a walk. I'm pushing him around in his stroller. And if you've been on Century at all in like the last, week and a half, you've seen the construction going on, right?
I have not.
No,
I'm guessing it's another wonderful patchwork maze of orange cones.
Yes, and what's worse is there are sections of Century where like it goes down to one lane and then back to two lanes and then down to one lane. And of course, as soon as people are getting out of that one lane stretch, they think the speed limit goes back up. So they start up just to like go a block to then have to try and get back in. So there's already been a couple of bad accidents up here.
Imagine that.
Yeah. But what the point I wanted to get to is with this project that they're doing, they like most construction projects, they were out and they spray painted the sidewalk and made their marks for utilities and such. So Calvin and I were walking down along Century and something caught my eye and I thought I would share it with you. One of these marks, bright neon orange, that they had placed, and you could see where they were like marking, but they marked it and they spray painted this dead squirrel on the sidewalk.
What?
Yeah.
Like you're talking that there was an actual, like a squirrel that had been run over or something and died on the sidewalk.
Yep.
Okay.
And these guys spray painted it neon orange. And this has just raised like a whole lot of questions.
Are you talking just a spray line over it, like they had to continue on with their marking, or they were like, oh, let's spray paint the body line around it, or let's spray paint the whole thing?
I don't know. These are the questions, Kidder. Was it somebody who was like too busy like on their phone as they were making the marks and they just didn't even realize they spray painted the squirrel? Is it a mark to say, hey, we got to clean this up? What happens if somebody comes in and cleans up the squirrel and now the mark is gone? These are important questions.
And that's why we are here at Triple B. We are investigating the hard-hitting questions of life.
Yeah, I mean, we're asking the questions. I don't know that we have any of the answers, nor am I going to pursue this any further. I'm not going to go down to Century, find some construction worker, in the cow's truck, go, knock, 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 knock. Hey, excuse me. Why'd you spray paint the squirrel? What did the squirrel ever do to you? I'm not going to do that.
What the hell are you talking about? This guy's nuts. Correct.
Yes. So, yeah, it was just kind of an interesting oddity on a little walk of the neighborhood and such. So, yeah. So many questions. But other than that, it's been a pretty good week. I'm glad the work week is over, though, that we're sitting here. We're having a chance to chat. And, Kidder, I don't know about you, but I'm thirsty. So what's on tap?
I am very thirsty. And, of course, before I get to the beverage, obviously I'm wearing another one of the Avalanche jerseys from my collection. Got this cool kind of Star Trek-like design right here. Kind of neat. And, of course, if you're listening to this on one of our many podcast things, we are available to watch on the YouTube, so you can check it out. And I might note, this is the Yeti foot era, so not part of the C era that we are currently in. So I want to point that out. But the reason I point out the jersey before pointing out the beverage is tonight's beverage has been a stout supporter of the 2020 to 2021 Avalanche series, or I should say season this year. That would be New Belgium Mountain Time, a premium lager from the New Belgium Brewing Company. According to the beverage here, which is a large supporter of your Colorado Avalanche, it's cold and refreshing as snowmelt in spring. Mountain Time Lager is brewed with only the finest ingredients by New Belgium Brewing, a certified B Corp and Colorado craft beer icon. So I guess I am going a little crafty with this one. And quick pause. The game tonight, Colorado Avalanche versus the St. Louis Blues, just dropping the puck in St. Louis. So hockey.
Oi, oi, oi.
All right. So continuing again with your Mountain Time beverage beer here. 12 full ounces in this little can. 4.4% alcohol by volume. And just a couple calories in there. 130. There's protein in it. Some carbohydrates. And Ball Corporation is listed on the can here. So I'm not sure if it's just part of the can or if they're somehow... I don't know, cooperation of some kind between their corporations. But Ball Arena is now what the Pepsi Center was previously, where the Avalanche play. So, without further ado, let us crack this brew. Check it out. Nice bodied aroma there. So, here we go with the old... That's smooth. That's nice. That's nice. Mm-hmm. So how am I going to describe this? Because it's a lager. So it's got your traditional amber tastes. I got a little bit of the wheatness to it. I think I could have another when I'm done with this one. So it's good that I brought a second. I'm going to enjoy this. And I'm going to get a rating for you. So I'll check back with me in a little bit. I'm going to enjoy this because I'm pondering my rating. Because do I go with the first 5-star rating on the show from me, or do I not? I got to think about it.
Mm-hmm. At least 55 seconds, because that's when I've noticed that regret tends to set in with you. So
just 55 seconds?
Just 55 seconds. Start the clock. But don't really, because that sounds like work for future Howard.
Future Howard. No, put it on the screen. You got it. I think we're about 30 seconds in by now.
I don't know. I'm not keeping track of this. This is something that future Howard's going to have to deal with. This is now a problem for him.
Good thing we have technology. automated animations and whatnot. I'm sure
Mhm.
there's some kind of plug-in or something like that.
I think last time I manually had to make the countdown clock work.
Really?
Mhm.
Well, he already did it once, so past Howard is helping future Howard. Copy and paste.
Well, maybe. That sounds like a lot of work.
The whole space-time continuum is just waiting to implode. Just going to envelop itself, and then suddenly we're not here anymore. So I suppose that I was going to let you go and discuss your beverage, but like normal, we went on one of those little tangents. So I'm going to give my official rating of 4.5 stars.
4.5. That's a pretty good rating.
4.5 thumbs up on the 0 to 5 scale. So cheers to you, Howie Blues.
Well, thanks. Well, Kidder, before I get to my beverage, I have to issue a correction.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Episode 6 came out this week. And I happen to have a coworker of mine who listened to the show. And as he put it, he goes, I was listening to an episode, and I was not expecting to be mentioned in the show, and he was. But he insisted that I make a correction, and I feel like I must.
Mm-hmm.
He said that I kind of referred to him as a beer snob, and he wanted me to point out that's not true. He's an IPA snob. He knows nothing about other beers.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you at least know your one type of beer. And I don't want to rag on you because most IPAs I can't stand. I'm going to let you enjoy your thing. Everybody's got their own little thing. And I'm not even going to throw out an IPA related slam. Good on you.
Well, so because of that correction, I decided that my beverage of choice tonight, it's one I've actually had before, but it's a Lagunta's IPA. Yeah.
We're already in the reruns?
No, I haven't had one on the show.
Oh, you haven't had one on the show yet? Oh, right. Okay.
But I have had
one.
I
thought you were having another one on the show. Like, yep, I'm already done with this. I don't want to try anything else. I'm repeating this crap.
I stand by my intro statement. Not afraid to jump the shark.
The shark has been jumped a few times.
A few.
So give us a refresher on your IPA. What is the Labla saying that is on there and in it?
So the saying on here, which is going to be annoying to read, because if I hold this up, Kidder, and get it centered. See that little tiny print around the border?
I can't read that crap.
No, I don't expect you to, but it goes up and across the top and down the other side. So here comes some annoying as I try to read this.
That's just how they get you to gently not shake your beer, but to make sure the contents inside are moved to get all of the flavors mixed before you open the cap.
I will say, though, they do have a pronunciation guide under their name. So, yeah, Lagunitas. Yeah. So the description on here, well, it's not really a description, but here's what it says. Thanks for choosing to spend the next few minutes with this special homitically hoppy ale. Savor the moment as the raging hop character engages the imperial qualities of the Malt Foundation in Mortal Kombat on the battlefield of your palate.
First of all, I want hold on, because I want them to see you opening your beer. Okay, hold on. First of all, I take issue with it claiming that you're going to drink this in several minutes. I also take issue with the fact that if they don't mean that you're going to only drink it in a couple minutes, like a couple minutes in length, that then you will only enjoy it for the first couple minutes and then the rest of it is crap. the second thing, they're referencing Mortal Kombat in this. We talked about Mortal Kombat in episode 2. They're late. Come on.
We did talk about Mortal Kombat in episode 2.
And
that was in the section.
cut.
That was the section that got lost. So
each time we did it 3 freaking times. 3 times. So, all right. I'm calming down. Please enjoy your 30 seconds of a beer.
You were right about it getting shaken up. Now I got beer all over the place.
By God, he's got beer coming out of everywhere.
Yep.
This is the fastest I've seen you drink in 10 years. This is great.
I am now covered in beer. Yeah.
Well, I guess if you can't drink it fast, you might as well wear it fast.
Yeah. What? And I have, of course, because, Kidder, we've been cleaning and such for the house, I have, like, no paper towels down here. So, sacrificial hoodie.
I would extend a bleach cleaning wipe over to you to assist in the cleanup process. However,
I expect to see you in the next 30 minutes.
No, I've been drinking.
Oh.
I'm smart. So I haven't invented a transporter yet, and so this one's on you. Literally.
It is. Literally on me. Mm-hmm.
Should we go back to the beginning of this show?
I was going to say, to quote a former student of mine, although twisting the quote a little bit, I'm now covered in beer and hatred.
Yeah. You're covered in hatred? Or you're just oozing it?
Now, the original line was, I'm covered in paint and hatred. I was at a school that I taught at. It was a boarding school, and we were competing in DI, Destination Imagination, which, Kidder, you used to appraise with me.
Yes. I was a judge.
Right. And our team was doing some painting. Well, the owner of the school didn't like that paint got on his garage floor. So he forced us that anytime we wanted to paint, we had to paint outside and not on the property. So we had to be in the ditch on the side of the road. And one night, like, to get this done, we are literally in the rain. We have tied a tarp from my Yukon to the property fence. So we had some sort of cover, using the lights from another car as our only source of light. And one of my students, who is
ding, 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 ding,
and wet and covered in paint, she finally just said, Chris, I'm covered in paint and hatred.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
It is.
So shout out to them that story got told. But
yeah.
If you're looking for a rating, I do enjoy Lagunta's IPA. It's a good one. I enjoy it. Some would even say that it is doggone good. Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah. Yep.
So how good or how bad is it?
I don't know how to tell you that, Kidder. We've never established an official rating scale on this show.
I mean, I've kind of done like a sort of rating, like 0 through 5. But I believe the water static that I've drank the past couple episodes, it's gone into the negatives. So I'd say plus or minus 5.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd give this probably a rating of like probably about a 4. So
very good.
I don't often drink IPA, but anyway, I figured I'd do it because of the correction. And to Rob, my friend who drinks IPAs, this one's for you. So
I'm glad you can enjoy that.
Yeah.
Quick update: Avalanche versus the St. Louis Blues. 12 minutes, 40 seconds left in the first. Avalanche on the power play. 2 minutes for interference.
So, Kidder, you made a reference to episode 2 of the podcast and how we tried to talk about Mortal Kombat, and we didn't. That recording is now lost to the ether.
We sacrificed it, all of our good content, to the internet podcast gods so that we can have a good show. We're still waiting for that one to show up.
Yeah, but I do have to say, I actually have been playing Mortal Kombat the last few weeks. So I got into a mood to play it. So I actually purchased Mortal Kombat X, which is not the newest one. That's Mortal Kombat 11. But I picked up Mortal Kombat X, and I've been enjoying it. It's brings back some nice nostalgia, from playing it as a kid in friend's bedroom on sleepovers, trying to learn all the special moves, trying to pull off a fatality because all you ever heard about was they're horribly violent, and so you're trying to do it.
So how long ago was that? Oh, man. Avalanche going on the penalty kill. 2 minutes with the trip.
That was, back like elementary school days. I was like 4th or 5th grade.
So it's an older game, even though they just came out with 11 not too long ago.
Oh, you're talking about the new one. This one came out in 2016 ish. Yeah. So it's Mortal Kombat's kind of interesting in the sense that it started with like some really solid story up through about like Mortal Kombat 3. Like it was a good solid story. 4 gets a little weird. Deadly Alliance and Deception are all right. And they build into Armageddon, and then when they got to Armageddon, they basically said, this is all too convoluted. Let's just reboot the whole story and universe. And they did that. They did that with the 2011 edition of Mortal Kombat, which was just simply titled Mortal Kombat. But the really neat thing is they didn't quite completely throw away the old timeline. They just kind of gave it a nice time travel-esque story and kind of created an alternative timeline. But the storytelling on it has been really solid with it, and just really well done. I've been enjoying it, which I know it's a fighting game. You're not expecting story and character development and things like that, but they actually have done a fairly nice job. If I have only one critique of it, and this is a long-running critique of Mortal Kombat, they keep changing the character design. And I don't mean like, hey, here's a new outfit. It's like, hey, this character now looks significantly different, like with facial structure and, hey, that scar over that guy's eye went from being really thick to really thin. It's odd in that sense, but
it's kind of unfortunate because you'd think that they would, for general sense of it, keep the characters as close as possible to everything else in the genre, but Marvel did it with Thanos as well over his progression due to like the increased resolution that the computers were able to render out. So I don't know.
It's interesting in that sense. And it's one of those things, like it isn't necessarily like anything that really takes you out of the game, but it is just kind of interesting. Like they've told this large, like 3-part story that goes across the last 3 games. And the characters just change enough that you're just like, it's just enough to like, if you're big into continuity, you're just kind of, you're like, that's annoying. His scar just changed sizes, or all of a sudden now Sonya Blade is Ronda Rousey. So,
well, that's an interesting turn of events.
Yeah. One of these days, I'll pick up Mortal Kombat 11. They did a lot of licensed characters. Both, I mean, they have been since the 9th installment of the game. But for 11, all of their licensed characters, or for the most part, all of them, are 80s action heroes. So you can play as John Rambo, or as the Terminator, or RoboCop.
Interesting. Interesting thing about a game that we play, just not the portion that we play, Call of Duty Warzone just emailed out today the introduction of John McClane and John Rambo you can play as in Warzone with special weapons that you can find or make, or the blueprints, or I'm assuming that everything is purchase, but you apparently can play them in Warzone or the Black Ops, latest Black Ops.
I'm sure they're just trying to compete with Fortnite, because Fortnite seems like all the time introducing like, hey, now you can play as this Marvel character or this pop culture character, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never really enjoyed like that, because it's always, in any game I've seen, you either have to purchase it, which I'm not a big fan of microtransactions,
Yeah.
or you had to do like some ridiculous thing in order to get it, and then it never lasted long. Like back in the Star Wars Battlefront or Battlefield. Was there Battlefront or Battlefield?
Battlefront.
Anyway, Battlefront. Like if you were on such a streak, all of a sudden you got to play as like Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker, and you would get it, and you're like, finally, I get to play as this cool character, and you'd get it, and you'd like run onto the battlefield, and somebody would hit you like a rocket launcher, and you're dead, and you're like, well, that was something. So
yeah, and I don't think it's like that where it's a power up or a special ability, or even what's the hell's the name of the game? It's the little army toy simulation game, and they had a Cold War version of it. Remember?
Toy Soldier.
Yeah. So, well, maybe that was the movie, but it's something. Toy Soldiers. I think that's what it was. But in the Cold War version, they had where you could get the power up, and then you could be basically a character that's like Rambo, and even making the kind of sound effects as you got a minigun and you're blasting pretty much everything, out of the sky. So, yeah.
Toy Soldiers is the name of the game.
Toy Soldiers, yeah. Very good. Yeah. I think this is more of a, like, you choose your avatar as that person, or you buy it just like any of the other, avatars that you never actually see. You just run into them as you're running around and dying and whatnot. But I don't know if it was a charm or if it was an emblem, but it was an NYPD badge. And I can't remember if John McClane was an NYPD officer who then went to the Nyakoma Towers. I think I'm saying that right, but I can't remember what city he was an officer in.
I believe it was NYPD. I think he was New York, because he's can't remember if he's visiting his wife or his ex-wife, who's in LA. He definitely wasn't from Scranton, Ohio. I can tell you that much.
Right. Or a place like Indiana, because who would want to be from Indiana?
There you are going with the drive-by.
I thought you'd appreciate that. I mean, you were waiting for it, wanting to work it in.
Yeah,
Work what in? If you have to ask, you can't afford it. Simple
It's
as that.
I'm glad you did, because one, I missed the obvious joke, so shame on me. But two, at least this way, you're sharing in the hate. It's not just me,
Is it really hate though, or more of just wanting to be that asshole?
I think by the time that he gets to this episode, there might be a little hate. There might be a little agitation, a little frustration, if you will.
There should be when you're that far behind.
I know. I mean, because even if he were to come on the next episode and get his side in on this, it's still going to be like end of June before this airs. Like, he's still like, because the first episode of that we've done this hasn't
2 or 3, right?
No, we started this episode 8.
Oh.
Episode 7 launches tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So
thanks, past Howard. And future Howard. I don't know. With that, I need another beer. So again, it's mountain time. Trying to open that without it splattering all over the place. So cheers to you, Howie Blues. Cheers to everyone wherever you may be at this point. Go Avs.
So what you're saying is you didn't want to pull a me at the beginning of this, where I had worked up this whole great thing and then had to deal with the beer spill. Killed the bit.
Maybe. We'll go with that.
We're just off the game tonight,
Are we though?
Well, one of us seems to be. It's that week off we took,
It might be,
I got rusty in that short amount of time. It's like, oh.
What I think it is that because how much you hate microtransactions, and you don't like EA because of the microtransactions, and EA is obviously, it's in the game. So your head's not in the game because you haven't purchased the microtransaction.
I see. Well, yes, it's going to cost me an extra $5 to not spill my beer at the beginning of the episode.
Correct. You get a draft beer like a real adult.
Oh, man. Well, Kidder, Lefty and I have been working to get our house ready to go on market. I didn't tell you this. I've been meaning to mention this on a podcast, and I just keep missing my opportunity.
Now better than ever.
Yeah. When we had the stager come through, the one kind of like maintenance project that she had for us was that we needed to paint our downstairs bathroom, which is a tiny, tiny bathroom. So I was able to paint it in a weekend.
But it's still a bathroom.
It's still a bathroom. But the thing about it is it's so small that Lefty and I, as we were finishing the coat of paint, actually it was the second coat of paint, the two of us kind of realized, like, wow, the fumes in here are really strong.
You didn't turn the fan on or what?
Well, yes, that would be true. And because we were in such a hurry to get it done. And this reminds me of a great story, which is why I wanted to bring it up and such.
Yes.
So for our audience, a great story of not one of our better moments, but in college.
Well, it might be the reason that we're where we are today. Let's be honest. So,
it could explain some things.
Back in the 2-0-3 era. You like that? 2-0-3? Can we make that trend?
I doubt it. I don't think we have that kind of power. I don't think we have enough people.
All right, sorry. Go on. I'm gonna mute myself because this is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. Anyway, back my freshman year of college, at that time I was still having a theater minor, something I would eventually abandon because The UND theater kids.
I should mute myself because I don't mean to laugh at you. I'm laughing with you.
It feels a lot like I'm being laughed at. So okay. I'll accept it. The sad thing is you've muted. So that great laugh that you just did, nobody saw. Nobody saw. I know you know. This is like revenge for all the times where I do things and try to be silent. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just not going to swear at you like you usually do me. That's just it. Right. Anyway, so I'm just going to ignore the bottom half of my screen here, but we are definitely off the rails tonight. Anyway, back when I was a theater minor, before I stopped that, because one of those things, UND in the theater department, if you weren't a major, you didn't really matter. When I was a theater minor, I was taking, I forget, I think it was like theater 1 or acting 1. I think it was theater 1. It wasn't a great class. And we got assigned groups. And like anytime you get assigned a random group in college, it's never good. I had all the stereotypes in that group. You know, the quiet guy who wasn't going to really contribute anything to like the conversation, but would at least get his work done. We had the slacker who you knew was going to just disappoint us at some point. We had the gal who was going to be just a total bitch. And that was my group. Anyway.
So which one were you?
Me? I was the guy who was going to end up. I was the odd man out who was going to do a lot of work and probably save the project. And that's what kind of ended up happening. So this group got it in their heads that we had an assignment that we had to create a theater company and create a basically a run of shows, like, you know, picking like, hey, here are the shows we're going to do. It wasn't, it was kind of a weird thing. Anyway, my group decided that we were going to be the Igloo Theater and that we needed to build an igloo. Well, we're college kids. I didn't have building supplies or things like that. So the best I could come up with was I had a few boxes. I could make a frame, but I needed the block shape. So for about a month, Kidder and I, every time we would go to Late Night Alternative, which was was it alternative? Man.
Just late night dining.
Night. We'd go to late night dining. It was the one time at UND that you could actually take food out of the dining room. And they came in these foam trays, and you fill up a couple foam trays and take them back to your room. We kept our foam trays for like a month till we had a stack of them.
And of course, we would clean them out. We would rinse them thoroughly to make sure that none of the pasta juice, the meat sauce for the pasta juice was on there, the nacho cheese, all of that. We'd make sure we rinsed it thoroughly. But as you know, with meat sauce for pasta, it stains pretty much anything it touches. So you could leave it in the sink rinsing for half an hour and it would still be like reddish tint.
Right. So because of that, in order to pull off this igloo, the only thing that I could conceive of doing was I had to paint all of these containers. So I went out, bought, I think it was like a half gallon of just white paint, like house paint. And of course, I recruited Kidder to help me paint all of these. And we didn't really have a spot to paint these. So we just cracked the window on our dorm room and proceeded to paint all of these containers in our dorm room. And to give you an idea of how many containers and how long it took, we watched the entire Back to the Future trilogy while painting.
Back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in our defense, I guess, it was the DVDs. So it's not like we were watching it on one of the cable channels where it's 12 hours long because of a commercial break every 6 minutes. That's 12 minutes long. So it was the movie straight through. However, as you know, the Back to the Future trilogy, each of those movies are like 2 hours long.
Right. So about 6 hours of painting, roughly. We get done. The last movie is wrapped up. We have finished painting the last box. Kidder and I kind of look at each other. We both realize we're hungry. We haven't had a meal. We should go get food. What should we get? What's that? Howard's got Subway coupons from his mom. Guess we're going to
Yes!
Subway.
Subway. I'm starving. Subway. That's going to be great tasting. Let's go to Subway.
Mm-hmm. You get there, you're looking at it, and of course, the coupons we have are buy 1 foot long, get 1 foot long free. How many footlongs do you think we got?
That's for the audience to answer, right?
Right. I'd hope you would remember that. But
whoa.
Needless to say, we were both so hungry at this point. We devoured 4 feet of sandwich that night, plus chips and a drink.
I think I had cookies, but still.
You may have had cookies.
Yeah.
And it dawned on us as we were eating all of this sandwich. All of this hunger. We were in a room with paint fumes for 6 hours. Clearly, we're both high on the paint fumes.
Yeah, it's good times. Yeah, we had the window open. In our defense, we had the window open.
We did.
The door
was
closed, but
well, that was because if the RA came in and saw us with an open can of paint in our dorm room, I don't think they would have appreciated that. So, yeah. Needless to say, I got an A on the project. Made the igloo. It worked. And then I proceeded to throw that in the dumpster as soon as I was done.
It's like, whatever happened to that? Oh, it's in the dumpster. Well,
in the dumpster.
There was 8 hours of our time.
Yeah.
Because first Back to the Future, hour 56. The second part, hour 48, and the third one not readily available.
Do we need some intermission music while Matter?
I mean, I thought that would be more of like a victory.
Yeah, well, you would think I would have gotten the buttons after, like 10 episodes with this thing. There we go.
It is 118 minutes for the third one. So you can do the metric to imperial conversion there.
Yeah. Kidder, I will say, at least like the whole paint fume and the headache that came afterwards once the high came down, nowhere near as bad as when the X-bombs were released on the floor.
Yes, that's right. It was that same time. Because the paint fumes were better than the axe bombs. And obviously, again, dating ourselves, but when the Axe body spray canisters were released and everybody was going nuts, spraying all over. But then if you realized you could pull the top off and then tape it or hold it down, but it would still spray, and then you could toss it like a grenade.
Yeah, usually you used a rubber band to hold the trigger down.
Yeah.
And yeah, the dorm we lived in had wings, and so it wasn't uncommon for the guys on one wing to set up the axe bomb, throw it into the other wing, and it just would fill. And I remember that happening twice. One time, you and I like shoved a towel up against our door and tried to just block any fumage from coming in. The other time, I recall, you weren't having any of it. You walked over to the axe bomb, picked it up, walked back to the other wing, and threw it back on their side. So
That's right, I did, didn't I?
you did. You did.
I was like, F you assholes.
Yeah. That was yeah. No, those were bad. Oh, you hated when that happened. That just wasn't even like a good prank. That was just like misery because the ventilation in those dorms were terrible. So that lasted forever when those went off.
Yeah, that's that's a good memory that I had forgotten until now.
Well, I'm glad I could jog that one for you. Well, Kidder, even though we took last weekend off, which I appreciate the time off with me trying to sell my house.
No, you don't.
I did. At least not having to to be fair, I was glad for the time off. It gave me time to do the things I need to do, but I did miss actually recording last week. That was missed, but we did get together last weekend for WWE's WrestleMania Backlash.
Oh, come on now. Put a little bit of enthusiasm in it. WrestleMania Backlash. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I already forgot most of the card. So I'm going to pull it up.
Why?
Let's see here. Yeah.
It was not that interesting.
Well, I know it wasn't interesting, but I'd like to bring it up because then I can remember the pain and suffering that you and I suffered for 3 hours.
I can sum it up in one word. Actually, 2 words.
Boring?
Zombie lumberjacks.
That was a great reason to not watch this crap. Yeah. Especially, so we haven't had a chance to even go down the predictions list for this pay-per-view, if I remember correctly. I don't think we did a pre-pay-per-view. I don't even know what you want to call it, I guess.
We didn't talk about it.
So here is the card. We'll start at the headliner. Roman Reigns and Cesaro for the Universal Championship. Cesaro, great push. Love for him to win and should be the champion right now. Do you think he was going to win? No. The other main event, Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre and versus Braun Strowman. Triple threat for the WWE title. Do you think either of them would win? No. Should they? Yes. Looking for the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line. Bianca Belair versus Bayley. I don't know. Not much interest in the match. Bianca Belair is going to retain. Raw Women's Championship on the line. Rhea Ripley versus Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. Another triple threat match. Do you think either of them could win? I could see Charlotte Flair winning again and carrying that, especially with her heel persona that she's going with right now, the Cruella de Vil persona. No. Rhea Ripley retains. SmackDown Tag Team Championship. This match, I want to say I was looking forward to it. Is it a pay-per-view match? I don't know. Could have been on SmackDown. But tag team champs there, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode versus the Mysterios, Dominic and Ray. And I was happy for them pulling off the victory in the first ever father-son tag team champions in history. So, very cool. I'm going to wait on the next one on the list, but U.S. title on the line, the open challenge from Sheamus, even though the open challenge was not actually an open challenge because the title was not on the line. Worthless match in the sense of, that's an open challenge and come on down. Anybody can try and beat me. Well, Ricochet came out. That was our other question. Who is the unknown? I guessed Ricochet, and out of sheer luck or, I don't know, some other moment of brilliance, I was right. He came out, and then, we're going to fight, but not for the title. Ricochet won. So there was that. And then the final one, as Howie Blues mentioned, the... So it was a lumberjack match. Okay, lumberjack match. Sure. Damian Priest versus The Miz. Yes, this is still going on. Well, hey, they're zombies because they died watching this match. It was terrible. Yes, I didn't like it. I don't think Jake liked it. We'd have to wake him up to ask him, though. Howie Blues!
What? Are we done?
Could you tell us your thoughts on the show or that match? Whichever you can get out before you fall asleep.
It just... Nah. I mean... Nah. Cesaro Reigns, good match. I think the best way to sum up the zombie lumberjacks was handled by Bray Wyatt, who just put out a little tweet that said, "Missed me yet?"
Yeah. We miss a lot of things about, older WWE. Like CM Punk.
I will say, interesting fun fact, Kidder, I don't know if you saw, but for the first time in his wrestling career, The Miz actually got injured. He tore his ACL in that. So he is out for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, and I figured you had seen it. And so I like giving you those types of honors.
Oh,
Mr.
Thanks.
Statistician.
Otherwise...
Speaking of the stats, how did we do on the last show? WrestleMania Backlash!
The statistician's been busy trying to sell a house and buy a house. Yeah, hasn't updated the stats.
It sounds kind of like, you're fired. All right.
Yeah. I know I'm being maybe a little harsh and overly critical of WrestleMania Backlash, but
that's what we're here for, though. That's one of our internet-given jobs. Right?
I just, as I said, I always keep hoping for something good, and I just, just wasn't anything to hold onto. And especially after that zombie lumberjack match, like, that just killed it for me. And that was about, like, what, third match on the card, fourth match on the card? Like, it was like at the halfway point, and it just, like,
we sort of almost fallen asleep. I mean, I was yawning, and it just killed the rest of the show.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing I don't get, okay? It's a cinematic match. right? So you can film it, you can edit it, you can reshoot parts of it. I don't know who did the editing on it, but it was the slowest paced match. The Miz is capable of a decent paced match. Damian Priest is capable of a decent paced match. Why was this being slowed down so much?
Yeah,
And
it was
that
it was horrible.
that
It was
and
horrible.
also some of the worst zombie actors ever. I mean, I get that you're the zombies and you're supposed to be this threatening presence throughout the whole thing, but you had some literally playing to the camera and trying to stand out as they're on the ring. It's just
Maybe they were the extras from the movie, and that'll just show how bad the movie is. Because it's all in a paid sponsorship for Army of the Dead, correct? Army of the
correct.
Dead. Okay, I want to make sure because there's an Army of the Damned or something, or I don't know. There's all kinds of these damned and armies and dead, and I mean, if I stumble across this, maybe I'll end up watching it while I scroll Facebook or Instagram, maybe.
It's supposed to be up on Netflix. Which okay, this was kind of one of those ironic things. WWE WrestleMania Backlash on Peacock
Sucks.
sponsored by Army of the Dead, streaming on Netflix.
They've just given up. It has to be yep, we're all on streaming services now. We're all pandering for the lowest common denominator, trying to get money so then we can stay afloat and the CEOs of these companies can have their billion-dollar salaries. So we're all in this crap together. So let's just go ahead and pander to the lowest common denominator. I don't know. The only reason I keep the Peacock subscription is because then we can watch the pay-per-views. But obviously, it's still an absolute garbage platform because you can't watch the damn pay-per-view when you're ready to watch your damn pay-per-view. Nope, you have to watch it live or a week later or whenever they actually put it up there.
Right. I mean, you can't even pause it.
Yeah. Oh, man, I got to go take a massive dump. Nope. You're going to miss a match because you can't pause it.
Yep.
Which is
brilliant. Sad because it was a way to get past if you didn't want to have to pick a match to be the bathroom break, right? You didn't want to do that. If you actually wanted to enjoy every match, you could pause it.
And that's what I'll say. One thing that we do, we suffer through every match because we want to have the full experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're making food, or you have to go to the bathroom, or you got to go get something to drink, or get another appetizer, or the stats laptop blows up and you got to fix it. It's hold on. Boop.
That's only when the assistant statistician takes over.
Oh, which one?
Freya.
Ah. She's actually right over there. I'll tell her you said that.
Good. Let her know she's slacking on the job. Performance reviews are coming up.
Is it that time of the year again?
Yep. If I were her, I wouldn't count on getting a raise.
She's going to be disappointed that she doesn't get more treats.
She should just show up and do her job then.
Right. Speaking of showing up, I'm already out.
I still got about
I'm out.
Half. Half. See, this is Kidder, I will say, we were talking a little bit about feedback that we'd gotten on this podcast, and I mentioned Rob in his take. He did say he did enjoy the fact that during episode 6, you got up to get another drink and continued to talk as you went upstairs.
Yeah.
It's like most podcasts I listen to, they wouldn't do that. It's like, wow.
That's because we're real people. Oh, yeah, this podcast thing. I'm thirsty. Hang on. We're going to go. Because, I don't know. If you on the other end, wherever you are, watching, listening, waiting, thank you for being there. But you know what? I can only imagine that if you needed another beer or perhaps cocktail or other sort of beverage, even of the non-alcoholic type, you would probably hit pause. And that's fine. Thanks for coming back and hitting play. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's some very, very good feedback, though. So I appreciate your noticing that attention to detail.
Yeah, that was a good bit. It was a very good bit. And you got a beverage out of it, so
it is. Great. Yes, that's true. I'm thinking that I might have to go get another one here, but I don't know. Yeah! Score! That's your Colorado Avalanche. Pick another goal. 1-0 at 1 minute 57 seconds in the second period.
Nice.
Right after the 4-on-4, nice transitional play from the Avalanche end of the ice. Right across, stretch pass, bounce off the rails. Number 27, Mr. Graves, totally outshoots Bennington and pops it over his stick all the way, bounces right into the corner of the net. There it is. Your Colorado Avalanche up 1-0 over the St. Louis Blues. So there's that. Also, since we're now suddenly talking about hockey, I know you didn't get to see Wednesday night's game, but Nazem Kadri had a, quote, illegal hit on one of the Blues players and was ejected from the game, had a 10-minute misconduct placed on him, and all of that. So the NHL then had a mandatory review the following day, and they determined that it was an illegal hit, which I don't feel that it was in the 6 angles that I saw on the television broadcast, and especially with the NBC anchors, especially Pierre Maguire, who can't say Mikko Rantanen's name right because he's a moron, but there's that. He doesn't like the Avalanche. So, of course, he's doing, that's an illegal hit. That you can't do that. That was just absolute. He purposely did that. You look in the footage, Kadri's skating across like this, the Blues players coming up like this, and they hit like this. It didn't look like Kadri purposely threw his elbow into the Blues player's head. Nothing. Yeah, the Blues player went down because he got his bell rung. No, that's hockey, right? So, I don't know. If you want to go check it out, I'm sure that there's some video clips available on your various video platforms or the NHL app, but the ruling from either yesterday or today is that Kadri has been suspended for 8 games for that hit. There was also the potential that he could face a ban from the NHL because of this hit and his quote-unquote history from doing this with the teams that he was previously with. I believe he was with the Golden Knights before he came to the Avalanche, but not 100% sure. I need our statistician to check that out, those sorts of things. But you know what? Very disappointed with the ruling. obviously I'm not an NHL official, so I can't say I know all the rules and regulations for the NHL. I didn't have the extra camera views able to look at on my own discretion, just watching the subpar NHL Sports Network broadcast. So I don't know. Maybe there was a little bit more. Maybe there was something in an angle that I didn't see, but I feel that it was over the top, especially for what I've seen other players do in games to the Avalanche, or even complete other games with other teams. So there's that.
Well, I mean, we just talked last week about the drama between the Capitals and the Rangers, and how Tom Wilson didn't receive a ban, and he forcibly threw a player to the ice twice, injuring him and taking him out for the rest of the season. Yeah, I haven't seen this. I'll have to go look it up here after the podcast. And for those of you out there, don't worry. Future Howard will make sure that there's a link in the show notes. So if you want to find this, you just need to scroll down to the show notes, and I'll have that clip there for you. So that's right, Beer, Blues, and BS, helping you find those videos that we talk about with the least amount of a headache.
You're welcome.
And just for the record, Kadri played for the Toronto Maple Leafs before he became a Colorado Avalanche player. So
I can always count on statistician Howie Blues bringing up the info, because I was too busy ranting and, not able to pull up the internet searches there. So thanks for checking that out and getting us on the right path.
Yeah, no problem. Kidder, before we transition to our next topic, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about a couple of honors that the Avs ended the season with. I know you wanted to mention them, and we didn't get a chance to last week.
That was last week's episode. Oh, right. Right. So, of course, the end of the regular season for the NHL 2020-2021 season. Your Colorado Avalanche, not only the West Division champions, but also President's Cup winners. That means the Colorado Avalanche, the best record in the NHL for the 2020-2021 season, beating out the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Woo! Yeah! Get some! That's what our brother Will would say. Get some! I don't know how he feels about this whole Avalanche beating the crap out of the Blues thing, since he was a big Blues fan for a while. But I will give him credit, because that's when TJ Oshie was with the Blues. So I haven't had this conversation with him yet. We'll have to see. I don't know if he still likes the Blues.
I was going to say, I'm lamenting the fact that my sound effect thing doesn't have a laugh track.
Oh, man.
Like I could use just some canned laughter there when, you say that Will likes the Blues.
I mean, he did, but I don't know if he still does. It's a truthful answer. I'm sure he's okay with the Blues. He lived there at the time, too. So, it was something to do. Great way to spend a couple evenings. Something like that.
I'm a little concerned, Kidder, about the level of excuses here you're making here for Will. You're coming off as a Will apologist.
I don't even know what to do with that, or where to go, because that was really bad.
It's all has to do with my dry sense of humor.
That's very true. Well, let us continue with some more interesting things.
Yeah, I wanted to talk Kidder, about a thing that's disappointing me lately, because I've been a little disappointed.
Okay. All
So-
right.
So,
Go ahead.
So, we talked back in episode 5 when we were with the Good Brothers about watching video game streams, and I've been excited because a couple of years ago, 2016 actually, Resident Evil 7 came out, and I'm not a fan of the Resident Evil games, anything like that, but a couple of the guys who I follow, I watch their streams, they played through Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, and it was fantastic. The storytelling of it was phenomenal. It was so good that I watched not just one streamer play through the game. I watched a second stream play through.
Wow.
Yeah, because the first one was good. It was by the folks at Achievement Hunter, which is one of the offshoots of Rooster Teeth. And what made that one great was not only did they play through the series, but they got the head of Achievement Hunter, Jeff Ramsey, who does not play horror games. They got him to play through it. So this is somebody who is literally terrified of playing horror games, playing through a horror game, and literally getting scared at the jump scares and other shenanigans in the office. Like there's a point where he's so focused on playing that somebody stands up in the room, because of course they were playing in the dark, but stands up in the room and it's like he jumps from that. And so it was just this great playthrough of that, and it was so good. I watched then a former Achievement Hunter, Ray Navarez Jr., play through it. It was fantastic. I love the story. It's got a lot of mystery. It's got these great horror elements, a bit of action, some kind of comedic moments. Very good. And needless to say, I was excited for the next game to come out to watch these guys play the next game. And that game just came out recently, and that's Resident Evil 8, or The Village. And in fact, I was so ready for this game to come out. I actually went back and I watched the playthroughs again. So I've watched these things, now twice.
That's amazing, especially because you're you're not interested or wanting to sit down and play that or anything. So
right, it's not a game I would play, but the storytelling, and from everything I was told, like it was a different take on Resident Evil. So some of the traditional Resident Evil fans didn't like it, but it was scary, and it had fantastic lore. And I really do mean the story writing on it was fantastic. It was great. I absolutely loved every minute of it. So I watched it again, getting prepared, waiting for the streams of The Village, Resident Evil 8 to come out. And they're out. And I'm disappointed.
You're disappointed?
I am.
Why is that?
They're not as good. The game's not as good. It starts off like on the right note. You're like, oh, okay, good. Because it picks up with the same characters a couple years after the events of episode 7. And it starts off very dramatically. And you're just like, ooh, okay, we're in. And then when you get to the village, they went very heavy on the action. They went very heavy on comedy. It's just not doing it for me, Kidder. I keep trying. I keep trying to watch. But now I'm putting it on. I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, wait, look, I'm looking at my phone. I'm watching, like, what on earth is going on in the game? I haven't been paying attention because it's just not as gripping,
Yeah, that'll happen.
It's been a disappointment. I keep trying. I want to enjoy this because, again, I enjoyed 7 so much. But yeah, it's been a disappointment for me.
Right.
I'm just
I'm sorry to hear that. Also, you notice our statistician has joined us. She was upset at the word, so she needed the comfort to to know that she's not getting a raise.
Tell her to stop being such a snowflake.
Oh, I don't think
Ray.
I don't think she's a snowflake by any stretch of the imagination. She likes looking at snowflakes and laughing,
Yeah.
but there's that.
Yeah.
But when you talk about games that you really love the story, I love going back to Brothers in Arms. Remember those games from the Xbox?
I actually haven't played Brothers in Arms.
Okay. That one, I would say you need to go check out. She wants to go check the game out right now. So, there you go. Thanks for coming. So basically, Brothers in Arms, World War II. It is, I don't want to say scientifically accurate, but all of the areas where the story takes place, because it's all historical information that they used for their storyline. And I mean, World War II game, you talk about the different places and whatnot, but they used actual eyewitness testimonials and stories that were told to build the game. So not only is it historically accurate in you're in this area, this town, this happened, but they got everything together as best they could with, the time, because this is already 10 plus years ago. I mean, it was an original Xbox game, I think. It wasn't even a 360 game, if I remember right. But they did what they could to make the scenery and the locations exactly like they are in person, or at least were in the time that this takes place. Because obviously, depending on what point in World War II and where they were, things were a little bit different. So that game was fantastic from when I loved playing through that. And then the second one came out and I was very disappointed because it wasn't as good as the first one. But I don't know. Maybe we'll have to play through that because I think there was a co-op. Probably not, though. I don't want to get your hopes up.
Yeah. It would be, it would be interesting to check out. Yeah. I'll have to make a note to try that one sometime, or track it down, or borrow it from you at some point. But yeah, no, it's always sad when you play through a game and you fall in love with the story and all of that, and it's just then for it to be just not followed up. You kind of wish it's like, oh, you had just this critical acclaim and success with this. Why would you change so drastically? And it's it's a little disappointing. But I will say, for anybody who likes kind of a good bit of horror content, go check out a stream of Resident Evil 7. It's a good spooky time. It's a short game, so like the stream will take you about maybe 6 hours to get through. So
score! Woo! Power play! Goal! Colorado Avalanche 2. The St. Louis Blows 0.
The goal horn is going to get a lot of work this episode.
You're debuting the goal horn?
Well, no, the last few episodes, because we've been recording during Colorado Avalanche games, you have, of course, jumped in like you just did to announce a goal. So in the editing process, Future Howard goes in and he adds the goal horn sound effect.
Way to go, Future Howard. Why can't Present Howard be that cool?
Because Present Howard's sound effect machine is a little red cheap toy.
Oh, I thought it was just because he was drinking.
That too.
Oh, okay.
That too. We've seen tonight That's a full-time gig. Full-time gig.
What do you got to be a quarter of the way through now? We've been talking for over an hour, so.
Yeah, actually, yeah, about a quarter. Well, actually, I got about a quarter left.
Quarter left. Ah, yeah, he's getting buzzed already. So,
Yep. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna, because I pulled up the facts on Brothers in Arms, the video game, and 2005 is when the first one came out. Road to Hill 30. Earned in Blood came out in 2005, and then the sequel Hell's Highway came out in 2008. And Gearbox made the first one. So the same engine that Half-Life was made on at the time. Earned in Blood was I don't know, PS2 mainly version. There aren't many details on here, but I mean, this is very, very limited. So shame on the internet for not having more details. But yeah, I was very much enjoying the game when it came out, because it follows the 101st Airborne Division in World War II. So Ubisoft published it and focuses on one squadron from the 101st. And again, historically accurate and the authentic setting. So the spin-offs, they diverted from the historically authentic adventure and went to more of like a shooter game. And so that's, again, why I didn't like the follow-up games as much as the first one. But true story, the 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment of the 101st Airborne Division during World War II, where many of the paratroopers were dropped during the Normandy invasion. The gameplay stress at multiple points the effectiveness of fire and maneuvering tactics of your squad, known as the 4 Fs, the find, fix, flank, and finish. Describe the steps in suppressing and flanking your enemy. Unlike other games where a player merely rushes up and fires enemy soldiers, gameplay focuses on relying on your teammates to lay down fire on the enemies while you flank them, go around, granting a more realistic and tactical edge to the game. On most of the levels, you command 2 squads. So you have the assault team and a fire team, and the single squad is accompanied by a tank, and those missions are really fun. At least they were back when I played it like 15 years ago. But you try and think and outthink the AI and see what you can do to beat the AI. So there's a lot of gritty and what they call uncensored display of war during the game as well. So I mean, I really thoroughly enjoyed it, like I have said several times. But the AI, if I remember correctly, it also learned to your tactics, so it got harder the longer that you played. On this specific article, it talks about the AI, both your squad and the enemy, being intelligent, noting your position, listening to your footsteps, and being able to run, take cover when they're being shot at, and throw grenades when necessary. So pretty cool, especially considering today, 15 plus years later. It's one of the most realistic shooters, and being able to recreate scenarios that you would watch on like a History Channel episode. They also compared it to the HBO series Band of Brothers, which I really love. I feel Band of Brothers is one of the best true series that you could watch if you are interested in World War II, in how you would train to go to war and then end up parachuting in and surviving and making it through World War II. I think that was one of the best. You know, their spin-off, The Pacific, not as good, but still interesting. And that tells that story as well. So there's that.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of The Pacific, but Band of Brothers, and I think part of the reason why was better probably than The Pacific. The Band of Brothers was based off of the book Band of Brothers by Stephen Ambrose. For those who don't know, Stephen Ambrose, he's a historian who writes some very, very good history books. I've read several of them. He's one of my favorite historians to read. And he has unfortunately passed away, which is sad because it means no more of his excellent books and research and such. But he has a very nice. Kidder, I know you're not much of a reader.
Yeah,
but I think you would enjoy his book version of Band of Brothers. It doesn't. If you liked the show, you would like it. It's detailed enough, and yet it has narrative to it, and it's enjoyable. And it's not a hard read. So it's good. I enjoy it a lot. For those of you who enjoy reading your history, Band of Brothers by Stephen Ambrose. Good call.
I actually referenced a book. You'll be proud of me that I referenced a book and recommended a book for someone else to read yesterday.
Wow.
Yes. A coworker of mine who has some connections with other things. I've mentioned to you that we used to really be interested in, and you were talking about during this episode, without specifically just giving it away. He just watched Star Trek Generations, and he's a growing Star Trek fan. And, I was like, oh, great. What did you think? He's like, oh, yeah, it was pretty good. The story was bad. I'm like, okay, what was bad about it? And then, of course, he told me it was Star Trek Generations of, well, yeah, you blow up and the Nexus is here, and then you get sucked into the Nexus, and then you're like, Guinan, I want to go back. You don't want to go back. I want to go back. Well, you're going to need somebody else to help you. This guy just showed up too. Oh, it's Captain Kirk. Oh, Beverly. Oh, okay. Well, now that we have Captain Kirk here with us, I believe we should go back in time and save the universe. What do you say, Kirk? Yes, I do think that we should save the universe one more time. Great, let's make it so. And so his point was, instead of going back to the Enterprise D when Soren is on the Enterprise and they could stop the whole thing from happening, nope, let's go back 5 minutes. I'm going to punch you in the face now, and I brought somebody else. Sorry, I went a little Sean Connery there. Not Patrick Stewart. But, yeah, he wasn't completely a fan. So, in the roundabout way of saying I was referencing reading material, back in the day after Generations came out, William Shatner wrote a novel called The Return. It takes place after Generations, and it talks about Kirk after he was buried on Narendra 3. Or no, sorry, not Narendra 3. That's yesterday's Enterprise. Gosh. See, now I'm going to have to do some more research and come back and do this again next week. No, I'm just kidding. After Kirk was buried, and this is in the novel, the Borg come across his body. And I'll just leave it at that to pique your interest that it was a well-written novel by William Shatner. It's called The Return. I have the hardback copy. And I read it a couple times back in the day. And really, really good book. So go check that one out too.
You know what the best Star Trek movie is?
You haven't told this joke in like 5 years. And you're going to start this crap now.
It seems like a good time. For the audience, the best Star Trek movie is Star Trek Into Darkness. So much better than that garbage pile that is Wrath of Khan. I mean, we're talking about a cinematic masterpiece.
Right in the nick of time, your Colorado Avalanche break up this bad thing. And guess who it was? Former University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux Tyson Jost with the goal. Yeah! Drink to that. Thank you.
I am.
Awesome. That was a very, very, very nice goal right through the 8-hole, 5-hole, either. Went through Bennington. Yeah, way to go, Josty. Very proud of you. Awesome. So, yeah, let's. I'm trying to pull up some facts with this because it's been a couple years since I've watched this, and now, especially, while I am taking a look at this, it looks as though there is a review going on with this goal. So I'm gonna call shenanigans on St. Louis. Just calling the shenanigans. Viridian 3. Is that what I said Narendra 3, didn't I?
You did say Narendra 3.
I said Narendra 3. So Narendra 3 was the site of where the Enterprise C was lost in a battle defending the Klingons from a Romulan attack. Viridian 3 was the planet in Star Trek Generations where the battle scene occurred and where the Enterprise D crash landed. There's a joke out there as well. I'm not going to go there. I don't know if you know that joke, Jake, but I'm gonna leave it out there for those who know that joke. Oh, by the way, that is an official goal. I just saw the referee give the goal signal there. But Enterprise D crash lands, and they have to be picked up by a Nebula class, a Miranda class, and an Oberth class Federation set of starships there off of Viridian 3. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. They just put up Tyson Jost's information there for the goal, and I believe that's his first. For sure, it's his first. No, it's not. Not for sure, because he's scored already in this playoff season. By God, I'm just not getting the facts right. I need a statistician.
Sorry, statistician was falling asleep on you there.
Oh man, they just got a shorty.
Oh.
Yeah, just got a shorty because with their challenge, they lost the challenge on that, and so it's a 2-minute minor. So yeah, but according to the notification that I just got, it is Tyson Jost's first playoff goal of the season here.
Hmm.
So
Well, Kidder, we've been talking for quite a while.
Again?
I think it might be time to wrap this one up.
Again? Already?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I know, time flies when we're having fun.
Yeah. It is that time, I suppose. So, well, let's see. What should we talk about first? Cheap plugs. I know we've had an episode of cheap plugs before, but where can you find us? Well, facebook.com/beerbluesbs. Hell, we'd also like you to for you to like us on Podbean, follow us. We're also on Spotify, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM. That's right. You boys are in the SiriusXM app. We're hitting the big time. So thanks for being there with us. There's also Google Podcasts, the Apple Podcasts, the Amazon Play Store. You can check out all of the Amazon plays on there, and a few dozen others. Basically, we're everywhere. You want to watch or listen to us. YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click the thumbs up because we appreciate the likes. So thank you very much for joining us. Also, how about the KRDN Eyewitness News 8 Weather Now stream, where you can find the very latest in what's happening. Yeah, we got some storm action happening. In fact, this weekend, another possibility of some more severe weather on Sunday. Just, let's see, what day is it? On Wednesday, we had a confirmed touchdown of a landspout tornado, or landspout.
I was hoping that was more of a hooray sound effect. Or...
Yeah, I thought you were telling me to wrap it up. I'm like, we're not on a time schedule here.
No, I was going for. Truthfully, Kidder, there's a lack of positivity on this thing. Like, really, I got.
That's pretty good.
Everything else is kind of like meh or negative. So, anyway.
Fair enough. So, yeah, just outside of Tappan, North Dakota, which is east of Bismarck, North Dakota, a confirmed landspout, which the differentiation there between a tornado and a landspout is a non-rotating thunderstorm base that the tornado comes out of. A regular tornado, if you will, is from a lowered rotating thunderstorm, a mesocyclone. So that's a little bit of a meteorological nougat for you to ponder as you continue through the rest of your night. So a severe weather season is here. I'm super excited for it. If you couldn't tell, ready to go chasing. We'll have to talk about that at some point, too, of our first chase together and pop up a couple of those photos from back in the day. But we would appreciate it if you would like us, subscribe it to the shows in the various places, follow it, like it, whatever the case is, because any number of places where we are, there's any number of terms for you to like or subscribe to us. So please do that. Hell, if you want to sponsor the show, you can let us know too. We got our email addresses there. Kidder@beerbluesbs.com. He's Howard at beerbluesbs.com. You can email him, or you can even email the other good brothers from down south, the gentleman from Iowa, Rude Boy Kyle at beerbluesbs.com, or perhaps the gentleman from Nebraska. That's Bob Giggles at beerbluesbs.com. You can check out everything there. beerbluesbs.com. Yeah, check out the website. How about that? Yeah, we got a little thing called a website. Putting pressure on current Howard so future Howard can push that along or something like that. Either way, hey, how about you donate or you want to buy us a beer? Donate your time, your cash, whatever the case is. You want to sponsor the show, we'd love that. You want to just buy us a beer, drop us a note, do that too. Send us an email, send us a message on Facebook, like us on Facebook. Thanks again. I think I've spent enough time with a couple cheap plugs, so please, if you would, join us on the old social media. And thank you, as always, for watching and listening. Before we go, Howie Blues, did you have any final parting thoughts?
No, I was going to make a quick correction, Kidder. You forgot an email address. If you want to reach the gentleman from Indiana, well, he's at... Oh, wait. He doesn't have an email.
Slacker at doesn'thaveanemail.com as part affiliated with this show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now that we have railed him 2 or 3 times during this episode, I'm sure he'll catch on one of these days. So before we get ourselves into even more trouble, thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Beer, Blues, and Bull. Because, man, we are having a hell of a time. We hope you are too. Join us again on the next episode for more moderately interesting stuff and us making fun of each other and having one hell of a time doing it. So we'll catch you on down the road. Free beer tomorrow, my friends. We'll see you on the next one.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
But yeah, I'm ready if you are.
Yeah, I'll call CJ afterward.
Oh, I mean, you need to make a call.
Yeah, he's just calling me.
Yeah. Well, if you need to answer a call.
I missed it.
Oh, shucks. I'm sorry I kept you from that important call.
You know, it's just one of those things.
I'm feeling racked with guilt over here.
Like granite or quartz?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or is that more of a shale joke?
Oh, are we really doing rock puns? I mean, we can do that, but oof.
Pretty soon it's going to lignite into something more amazing.
That was a stretch. That was a stretch. That was.
It looks like a rock.
Not cool, man. Not cool.
What? Next thing, is it going to be a Chevy truck? Because it's like a rock. I haven't even started drinking. I have had 0 alcohol today.
I've just had the sacrificial beer, but that's it. You know.
Oh my gosh. All right, we better start before this gets worse.
Or before somebody thinks we're stoned. Good evening and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that's not afraid to jump the show.
I was holding it in. I'm sorry.
You cracked
I'm
me.
Sorry.
Well, now I know what's going at the end of the show.
Yeah, well, what is going at the end of the show? You'll have to find out. So stay tuned to the end of the show.
Let's try that again.
Do you want to?
I think so.
I mean, let's just roll with it.
Oh, but I had a great line worked up. Yes.
Oh, well, just pretend that this is the open then.
Yeah, well, let's just start it. I didn't get that far.
Oh. So you're pretending to be a Chevy truck.
What? Selling out to the fans? Maybe. Possibly.
Like a rock. Yes. Oh, good times. So,
Yeah.
after you.
Oh, thanks.